Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Thank you for joining me once again on one of these Magic the Gathering box openings here. And as promised, we are going to start out that victory fanfare once again because we did have this second box of the Final Fantasy Collectors boosters come through there. Now, I will say it has been very tempting because, I've seen how much these have spiked up in price to just be saying, hey, let's let it go, put it to someone else. But as a collector and someone that just loves the thrill of opening up cards, I know that I'm probably not going to be able to get another of these for under the insane prices. I already thought that it was a pretty insane price for where these were ending up, where I had to get them there, but to go that much further there, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of hope there for other I guess you could say universes beyond. I was going to say universes without, because it's like without within is the context there. But, we got Spider-Man coming up after the next Edge of Eternities there. And then after that, supposedly we're going to be having the Avatar The Last Airbender set. I don't know how those are going to compare to Final Fantasy. Marvel and Spider-Man is obviously pretty big. It might be similar. I just don't know how much Avatar The Last Airbender is going to compare to this. But we are going to go ahead and open up this box because, like I said, I could be selling it for a big profit, but there's no real fun in that there. We are looking to actually open these up and have a good time, so that's what we're going to do. Not all the time it's going to be dedicated to just looking at money there, just because we never know what's going to be popping open in here. I don't have faith that there is going to be any of these super chocobos in here or there, or even like a surge foil of a mythic there, but I am hoping to just get some pretty cards to open it up and to be able to use it there. That's why I ended up getting it. I'm not looking to sell it back at a profit. That's not what I'm looking to do. So, first pack Magic. We are hoping to get some stuff. As I had mentioned last time, there was a lot of stuff that I had said that tried to bring me some luck there. In the case, it was by something along the lines of by the materia and magic, and something else, by the grace of luck there, let me pull something cool or something like that. So we are just hoping for that first pack luck here, just to see. And, we're getting back to some of the regular pulling here instead of the more review that I did with the last one. So we've got a hero here, kind of looks a little bit like a Banga to me, and we're going to have that good old Wizard 01 there. So what are we looking to get out here? I guess, yeah, we'll just do it like this and turn them over one at a time. A little bit of Hectize. We had gotten that one last time there. A little, when it ETBs, each opponent discards a card. It's fine. Item Shopkeeper, I'd gotten that one in the previous one as well. Whenever you attack target attacking equipped creature gains menace, so that seems fine. If the Cloud deck there, goes well with that. Precious Wanderings, this is a new one there for me. 2 and a green for an instant with search your library for a basic land card or town. Put it onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle. When you search your library this way, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So a little bit of an upgraded version there, if you want to call it that, for some of those search ones like Rampant Growth there. It costs 1 extra to do it there, but it could also get a town, which is technically a non-basic land there, but you also get a +1/+1 counter. So, it's an extra mana, but it can search for non-basics in addition to basics, but then also gives +1/+1 counters. Maybe that's a good enough rate. Stolen Uniform, we had gotten this one last time as this version, as well as the alternate version that I really like the artwork for. And again, I really like it with the idea of being able to just equip your own equipments onto your creatures for just the 1 blue mana there. So just my strategy that I want to try to use with it there. We're going to get a little bit of Gaius von Balsar. We went over all of the legendary creatures that I had pulled, so this is a new one there for me. 2 and 2 black for a 3/2 legendary human soldier with when it ETBs, you get to choose one. Each player sacks a creature token of their choice. Each player sacks a non-token creature of their choice, or each player sacrifices an enchantment of their choice. Okay, so you get to pick the best option there. If there are enchantments that are ruining some stuff, you could do that. If there are creatures or creature tokens that are taking over the board, you know, that's an interesting one to just get rid of things. Has a little bit of a, oh, what do you call it there? Like flesh bag marauder type of effect there with that, you know, sacking a creature, but you can more specify it or do the enchantments. I like the ability to choose there. And we're also going to get a little bit of Summon Esperama, which I don't think that I had gotten this one last time. 2 and 2 red for a 3/3 enchantment saga wizard with Judgment Bolt, deals damage equal to the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard to target creature an opponent controls. So it really feels like something that would be good in the Ishtola commander deck, except it's red. So maybe with all the milling that goes on with, let's say, the Terra deck, maybe it could fit in there because it is an Esper. And then on 2 and 3 wizards you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. I think Vivi is technically considered a wizard there, so getting him to have a little bit more power gives you a little bit more mana, but only +1/+0 isn't a whole lot there, so probably nothing super fantastic there. And I think that this is the alternate art thing, and this is usually the one that can have some value in it, unless, I think, actually, no, we probably get like a borderless there. Yep, getting a borderless there of Ash, Princess of Dalmasca. 2 and a white for 3/2 legendary human rebel noble. When it attacks, look at the top 5 cards of your library, reveal an artifact from among them, put it in your hand, rest on the bottom of your library in any order there. Maybe this one was already in the Ishtola deck there, but obviously, you know, pretty good in an artifact-based strategy there, being able to just filter out and get best equipment there. Not equipment, artifact there. I can't remember if I said enchantment, but best artifact that you can get. So this is the one that's going to be special, and it's going to be another stolen uniform. So another version of that there that we had gotten. I hope that this is not going to be a pretty big repeat of things that we previously got. I'd like a lot of those cards again, but I do want to look for new cards as well. So up next is going to be the mountain there, the little land there. This one's from Final Fantasy IV. I really didn't play that one there, so I don't really know what that one is referencing to. But first rare is going to be, ooh, a new one there for us, Ultima, Origin of Oblivion. 5 mana for a 4/4 legendary god with flying, with when it attacks, you put a blight counter on target land. For as long as that land has a blight counter on it, it loses all land types and abilities and has tap, add colorless. Whenever you tap a land for colorless, add an additional colorless. So seems pretty good for, you know, an Eldrazi focused strategy of being able to get double up on that land. One thing that I do see is blight counters. That's a new type of counter for Tidus, and if you really wanted to, you could use Tidus to move around those blight counters onto an opponent's land there, so they lose certain colorings there, especially if it's a dual land or tri-land or one that has abilities there. Those the counters aren't really going to get taken off there, so this could really hose strategies with that as well. So I'm interested in that one there of having some sort of big utility to it there. I think that could prove to be very influential potentially in a deck like that. Up next, we are going to be getting, another Mog the Moogle Warrior from the Terra deck there. As I said, I love Moogles, so getting additional ones there is really nice. I would have liked if there were more Moogles in the decks per se, but, you know, just having another one there, in this case, one that is an extended art there, is really nice if I wanted to put it in a deck or make a commander out of it there, because then I can bling it up a little bit there. So I'll certainly take a Mog there. Don't look at that because we'll get to it at some point. We're getting a little bit of Alice Laveler. We had seen this one a couple of times when we did the Commander opening there, not only because we had opened it up in the Commander deck, but we also got this foil version of it when we looked at the little sampler packs there, which I'm pretty sure that the sampler packs in those are just going to be these Commander cards there, because every single one of them was a Commander card and not a single one of them was in the regular pack. So I hadn't seen that before with them there, but, you know, again, getting multiple of these is really nice because of this whole second spell you cast each turn costs 2 less. There are a few decks that I could put this in, so getting multiple copies is actually very beneficial for me. So I am glad to get that one there. As we can see from the backside of this one there, we got another of these Joshua Phoenix's Dominant that we had last time there as well. So this is 3rd copy, unfortunately. We already have this art already as well, so, you know, not too keen on that there. Maybe this might be one to move along, or, you know, if I do find a place for it there. But, you know, it seems fine there. 3 mana for the 3/4 when it ETBs, or when it transforms back from its Phoenix form, then you get to discard up to 2 cards and draw that many there. And when it is in its Phoenix form, it gets to deal 2 to everybody and summon up to 6 mana value stuff back from the graveyard there. All in all, not a terrible card there. It's just I'd probably prefer some other stuff there. So we're getting down to our bonus card and our super card there. So for our bonus card, we are going to be getting a foil Emmett Selch Askin. It's really difficult to see, but it is a foil on this one here. And this is going to be a Crick, Son of Yawgmoth there. So I think that one is going to be pretty decent there, because Crick is a decent commander there, and even decent in the 99. 4 and 3 black Phyrexian mana for a 2/2 legendary Phyrexian horror minion with lifelink, and for each black in a cost you can pay 2 life rather than pay that mana, and when you cast a black spell you put a +1/+1 on this. It's a really, really good one there. So getting a foil version of this is really nice, and seeing that we're getting some different cards there like Ultima and Emmet is really nice there. But we are going to be going in for our first like big hit there potentially, and it's going to be now that is what you call a big hit right off the bat there. Foil alternate art for the Summon Bahamut. Oh my goodness. And I know this is a card that's sought after. So one, we're getting new cards, which is amazing. I love to see the diversity there of getting the new cards, but not only it being that, it's going to be the alternate art, which is going to be the rarer one to get, and then also getting it in foil is also nice. So Summon Bahamut, 9 mana for a 9/9 flying enchantment Saga Dragon, with on its first and second lore counters, you destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. So artifacts, enchantments, battles, planeswalkers, creatures, you know, you've got it there. You can destroy pretty much anything. And on its 3rd one, you get to draw 2 cards, so you get a little bit more back. And on its 4th and final, you get Mega Flare. This will deal damage equal to the total mana value of other permanents you control to each opponent there. So if you have a lot of mana value, and unfortunately it's other permanents, so it doesn't deal the 9, but the thing that I see with this is if you can accelerate its lore counters by, we'll say, Tom Bombadil, or putting extra lore counters on this here to get to that end when you have a lot of stuff out and your opponents are having difficulty responding to it, you could deal a lot of damage to them. Yeah, I could see this being a finisher in that sort of deck there. I mean, reviving something from the graveyard, because it is a creature, so you can reanimate this for 1 black mana. You know, you're going to take the 9, but hey, you know, you get the Summon Bahamut there. This is a fantastic card to start off with there. So we are absolutely going to be sleeving this one up there for us. So my goodness, we are already starting off on a good note. First pack luck really came through for us there. So that is going to be, I'm digging that. All right, maybe a little bit of second pack luck there. our first one there, like I said, we only got one Surge foil, so I'm hoping that maybe we can get some more, just because I've seen people get like 3, 4, 5 different Surge foils in a pack there, and I'm not gonna lie, I would love to be able to get that as well. Hero this time is going to be a Vera as well as a Treasure there, so because Moogles can't be on the top here, this is probably one of my favorite heroes to get, and probably one of the 2 major ones that I'll use. But we're going to start off with a little bit of Scorpion Sentinel from Final Fantasy VII there. 1 in a blue for 1/4 artifact. Robot Scorpion, as long as you control 7 or more lands, this gets +3/+0, so potentially a 4/4 for 2. You know, it's just as it is, nothing there. I'm not sure how that would do in Pauper, but a 4/4 for 2 isn't terrible in that sense. We had gotten this town previously in the other one. I just never showed it. Guado Solemn, Fairplane Gateway there. It's going to be the town that enters tapped and gives you green and blue there. So, you know, a repeat in that there. It'd be nice to get other ones, but, you know, we'll deal with what we can deal with. And Insomnia Crown City, so same type of version there, town, but this one is going to be the white and black one there. Did not get this one last time there, so, you know, getting a little bit more diversity with the foils is nice. We're also going to get, a Chocobo on this art here, which is really nice. Choco Comet, X and 2 red for a sorcery with it deals X damage to any target. And create a 2/2 green bird token with whenever land you control ETBs, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So, you know, creating more Chocobo stuff with a little bit of the Chocobo tribal there, potentially there. I mean, I love my Chocobos, so getting this one here in foil is really nice. You know, I'll take as many Chocobos as I can possibly get. Oh, well, I know what that is, so we'll get to that in a moment there. We're going to have Tidus Blitzball Star, not the one that we get from the decks there, but this one is going to be a 1, a white, and a blue for a 2/1 Legendary Human Warrior with whenever an artifact ETBs, you get a +1/+1 on Tidus there, and whenever he attacks, you tap target creature and opponent controls. You know, a little bit of control there of tapping down something big that your opponent has there. You can get him a little bit bigger if you do play him in artifact strategy, but all in all, it's probably going to be more of a budget commander there of just trying to do something, because it's not looking to be going super going places a whole lot there. But we are going to be getting a foil vanilla Cheerful as Sea. So unfortunately, it's not the numbered version like I would have wanted, but it is going to be a foil one to be able to go with the foil Fang that we have. I would love to get a foil version of her numbered copy there. So again, if I don't get it in one of these packs, I would very much be willing to put out the money to be able to get it, just because it's not a terribly expensive card. But again, Vanille, you know, from there, the Manic Pixie Dream Girl of Final Fantasy XIII, and you get that top part of Ragnarok Divine Deliverance there. Very nice. I think we just need Saz, essentially, there. And we're going to be getting for our extended art there, a little bit of Cloud of Darkness. We had went over this one previously when I did my little review. When it ETBs, you have something -X/-X, where it's the number of permanents in your graveyard there, which, you know, gets around indestructible there, gives the minus count, -X/-X. So, you know, it's a little bit of targeted removal if you really want that on a creature there. So we'll take that there. And for our good version of these commons, uncommons, we're going to be getting another Summon Chocomog. So we had gotten this one before, so unfortunate that we are getting a couple of repeats in these slots there. I'll be looking for some other things if possible, but, you know, it is going to be one that will present us with at least a buck there. But going into our rares and mythics there. Actually, no, this is going to be a land, and it's going to be 7th Heaven there, so a little bit of Final Fantasy VII, Tifa, bartender action there. We always love to see that. Now, actually going into the rares, we're going to start off with some Jumbo Cactuar. Didn't get this one last time, so I'm glad to be getting it this time here. Is going off with his cool mustache there, like a evil villain, and getting really, really large with it there. 5 and 2 green for a 1/7 plant with 10,000 needles. When this attacks, it gets plus 9,999 plus O until end of turn there. You're flinging this, you're trying to get this in to deal that damage there because, oh my goodness, 10,000 attack just for attacking there. The infamous card that was shown very early on there, I'm glad to be able to get a version of it there pretty quickly there within the packs there. So 100% will take it. Next up, we're going to get another Hope Estine. We already have 2 copies there. We already have this in foil there, so unfortunate to get another version there. It's not a terribly expensive card, and like I said, I don't necessarily like Hope, so, it's not one that I am going to be super fond of getting multiple copies of. Up next, we are going to be getting a Arden the Usurper, a new card there for us. And in the extended art, 5 and triple black for a 4/4 legendary Elder Human Noble with demons you control have Menace, Lifelink, and Haste. And this is also going to have Star Scourge. At the beginning of combat on your turn, exile up to 1 target creature card from a graveyard. If you exile the card this way, create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 5/5 black demon. So you could get a card with a good effect from anybody's graveyard. This is terribly expensive. However, by summoning that demon, it does give it Menace, Lifelink, and Haste. So if you're somehow able to give this a little bit of protection there, potentially you could keep on being able to use that there, resurrecting big things and being able to use them there. But with how expensive it is, I think that it's going to be a little bit difficult to use there. You'll have to definitely make some workarounds with it. But, it has a very similar cost there to Crick, just a little bit more. So up next, we are going to have, another copy of Yuna Grand Summoner, this time just in non-foil. Getting another one there will be pretty nice to be able to put into, creature-based decks that deal with the +1/+1 counters on it. Maybe I want to use it as a commander instead of Tidus and now having multiple copies. I'd be able to do that there. It's not really something to be able to use in like a Tom Bombadil or Saga-based deck unless it heavily deals with the Saga creatures that we're getting there. But, we'll certainly take it as just an extra copy to use. And then for our second to last card, this is going to be from our special set there. And actually, I am going to just sleeve this up just because I feel like I should. But from this bonus sheet, we're going to be getting a Shantoto's Coercion. So we hadn't gotten this one yet, but this is going to be a Diabolic Intent there. So 1 and a black for a sorcery with as an additional cost to cast a spell. You sack a creature and you search a library for a card, you put it into your hand and then shuffle. Not too bad for a little tutor there. You don't have to reveal it, you just get to grab something there. So in certain strategies, you can just quickly grab those ones out. So we'll definitely take that one there as another special card there. I'm not sure how fantastic it's, I like the art there. I'm not too sure how much I would run it there, but it's quite possible there. And for our big hit card there, it's going to be a little bit of Zankinard Ancient Metropolis in a full art foil version. Okay, not the most amazing thing. However, these adventure lands, I do appreciate them of being able to use a spell, but then it also becomes a land afterwards, or you can just have it as a land. They're also towns, so it helps with that town tribal. But this is just going to enter tapped and add green for it normally. But if you use its adventure, it's going to be a 4 and 2 green for a sorcery with create a 1/1 colorless hero token, and you put a +1/+1 counter on it for each land you control. So you definitely want to use that there once it's higher up. If you have something like the bounce lands that come in that can either pay for 2 different colors or a colorless and 1 color there, I think that these are good ones there to be able to bounce because they have the effects there, and then you can play the lands again at some point there. Just as a as a thought there for what you might be able to do with them. So going to be going in, hoping to get a little bit more luck with this one here. Magic Materia luck by the grace of the crystals, something along those lines there. We're looking for another cool thing like Bahamut. Alrighty. So we're going to get a little bit of the manga hero as well as some food in there. So first off, we are going to be getting a little bit of You're Not Alone. You're not alone, Zidane. We're all in this here for you. 1 white for an instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end turn. If you control 3 more creatures, it gets 4/4 until end of turn. So honestly, not a bad deal. You know, you just have to have a little bit of creatures there. And in white, you're probably going to be able to have 4 creatures on the board or so. Giving something 4/4 is not insignificant there. So certainly take that. We're also going to get a little bit of Resentful Revelation with a little bit of Sephiroth art there. 1 and a black for a sorcery. Look at top 3 cards of your library, put 1 into your hand, the rest into your graveyard there. So you do a little bit of milling and be able to put something good into your hand. Honestly, pretty good effect there. Has a flashback cost of 6 and black, so it's a little bit expensive there, but hey, you know, it's a decent enough mill and kind of draw spell there with it, so I'll definitely take that. Another little Sephiroth intervention like we had before with destroying a creature there, so he's coming down for Aerith in that one of the most famous scenes in Final Fantasy there. Certainly nifty to get another foil version of that, and we are going to be getting another Prompto Argentum, which we had gotten last time there. Not the Surge foil version, so hey, you know, like, as long as we can avoid getting another Surge foil of Prompto and it being the only one in here, that will be really nice. We're also going to be getting up a little bit of Eject. Had this one in the last one as well. Can't be countered. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Draw a card. Because it's 4, you're probably not going to be doing it with your own unless you're trying to protect it from something there. You're probably trying to disrupt your opponent with it there. But, you know, there are multiple use cases for it. And I think... Oh, nope. We're going to get Tifa's Limit Break. Didn't get this one last time. A new tiered spell. 1 green for an instant. For 0 extra, creature gets +2/+2. Kind of... simple there. Meteor Strike for an extra 2. You double target creature's power and toughness until end of turn. That's pretty nice. And Final Heaven, 6 and a green. You triple target's power and toughness until end of turn. So again, with these tiered spells there, it seems like in most cases, the first and the second one are probably going to be the ones that are used most often just because they're not quite as mana intensive there. But to be able to double a creature's power and toughness can be pretty impactful there if, you know, they're not weaker than like a 2/2. But yeah, the triple, these final ones are always really, really expensive there. So unless you've got some way to make a lot of mana like in Commander, I don't see a way to use it there. And I just think that for the costs of the like 1, 2, 3... for some of these here is going to be a lot more efficient. So glad to get another Tifa there. And we're going to get a extended Art Zac Fair. So that'll be pretty nifty there. We had seen this one show up in the Final Fantasy VII the Commander deck as well. 1 mana for a 0/1 that gets a +1/+1 counter, and you can pay 1 mana to sacrifice it to give 1 other creature indestructible and put all of Zac's counters and 1 equipment that is attached to him onto that creature there. So maybe it can save a little bit of equipment there for you. Who knows? Because it's only 1 mana there, maybe it could potentially see some usage there. So it's an interesting thought for us. And for our big one there, we're going to get a Summon Fenrir. So another one of these summons in its alternate art foil there. Very, very nice. You hadn't seen this one before. So 2 and a green for a 3/2 Enchantment Saga Wolf. With Crescent Fang, you search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. So a little bit of mana ramp when it comes out. Heavensward Howl. Whenever you next cast a creature this turn, it enters with an additional +1/+1 on it there, so make it a little bit bigger. And Ecliptic Growl, draw a card if you control the creature with the greatest power, tied for the greatest power there. All in all, I mean, it's a good uncommon there. Like, you could use it in some sort of popper format there, but, you know, all in all, it's kind of slow. It doesn't do a whole lot there. And, you know, as an enchantment creature, it can be removed a little bit easier there. I mean, same thing could be said with Bahamut there. Bahamut does get the extra attack, though, which I do enjoy, whereas Fenrir only gets the one on the second turn. So that is the unfortunate thing about these Saga creatures there, is I wish that they survived through the end of turn 4. And then we're going to get our land there, which is going to be this dragon swamp there. And when at one point there, this one specifically was the only foil full art land that was over $1, but I think with so many being opened now, it's no longer in that. And I wonder what card that we got here. We have, as we've seen already before, we've seen a Shinryu. This is going to be Xenos Galvas, just in his regular art form. So we'll certainly take this there. You know, we are going to be looking for other things as well, but, you know, we don't have this version of Xenos yet there, so getting him there. And Shinryu on the back there is pretty, can hurt a whole lot there. Chosen player loses the game, you win the game there. Good one in Commander to try to get that through, if you are able to. But in a 2-player, in a 1v1, I don't think it's really going to do all that much there, just because it's slow with its 5 mana for a 4/4, and the backside essentially does nothing in a 2-player game. So, you know, good to get the artwork there, but it's probably not going to be a super impactful card. Oh, we're also going to get the extended art version of Squall Seed Mercenary. We got the numbered version of him there, but we got another version of him here, so that is always a nifty one to get. So always glad to get some new artworks, though it seems that we are a little bit low on the number of mythics that we have, so it would be nice to be able to get some more mythics, but like I said, always good to get more artworks there. I do see that there is a double-sided card at the very end, so I am going to just slip this in so that we can be a little bit surprised with that there. Hopefully it's something good. Oh, I see another one there, but we already know what that is there, and it's nothing super fantastic, so we don't have to hide it there. Kate Sith, fortune teller, you know, the cat Moogle that I really don't think should be a Moogle there, but, you know, getting him another one from the commander decks there. You know, getting extra ones from the commander decks are always very nice there, because they could potentially do something. So with this one here, it is that interesting one of, you know, you get the Scry, then exile the top card of your library, you can play it at this turn, and if you do, and when you exile something, one creature gets +X+O based off of its mana cost there. You know, all in all, it's not terrible for a card there. It's interesting to be able to manipulate the deck. But we are going to get a third version of this Dion Bahamut's Dominant, unfortunately there. Maybe this is the one that's going to show up a lot for us. We got a foil version of this numbered one, as well as a non-foil version of this numbered one there. So, you know, during your turn, Dion and Knights, you control a flying. When he enters, you get a 2/2 white knight. So every time that he comes back in, you get the knight. I do prefer Joshua's thing of being able to potentially draw some extra cards there. Gets to put a +1/+1 on each other creature you control, and they get flying on its first ones there, and you can destroy targeted permanents with its last one there. So, you know, destroying the permanents and destroying them there, these are both different versions of Bahamut there, so I think it's very entertaining that they do similar things. And for our, what do you call it there, our bonus sheet card, we are going to be grabbing a foil Benedicta Harma, which is going to be an Ishai Ojutai Dragon Speaker. Now, this is going to be one of the partner cards there, but it's not one of the most amazing ones there. Like, we are looking definitely for, like, Thrasios and Timna, Vile Smasher there, and I can't remember, it's Ludovic's Opus there. It's like Crom, I think it is. So it would be better to get essentially all the other partners but this one, but we'll certainly take this because partners can be strong. 2, a white and a blue, legendary bird monk, 1/1 with flying, that whenever an opponent casts a spell, you put a +1/+1 on this there. You know, it's pretty simple there of just, it gets big when your opponents do stuff there. So, nothing over the top, but we'll definitely take it there because it is a new one there. So nice to get it there. And for our double-sided card, we're hoping for something really, really cool. We're going to be getting another Xenos Galvas there. So we got this one here. I don't believe that it was the foil one there, so we ended up getting 2 Xenos in the same box here. Unfortunate to have that happen, so now just like I'm assuming his counterpart of Dion, that, you know, we have gotten 3 copies of him as well. So let us hope that we can get a little bit more variety there, because, I mean, what we got, this is a duplicate, this is a duplicate, this is a duplicate just in different artwork, this is a duplicate, anything in the Final Fantasy, anything in those is a duplicate, so the only thing new was this, unfortunately. So there is quite a bit of cards that I don't have yet there that would be really nice to open up. And I want to see how this one compares to the first one, because that first one did have Lightning, Buster Sword, Vivi, you know, it had some impactful cards in it there. We also haven't come across a, one of the, I can't remember what the foil is called there. I keep on wanting to say like Spectral or something like that, but we are going to start off with a little bit of a Viera there, which, you know, I don't think, I can't remember, was it the Emmett Selch was in our first one there, and I think Bahamut was in our first one, so this one didn't give us the grand one there, but it's going to have a bird on the back. Uh-oh, I do see a foil card there, so why don't we do this there to hide it up and get surprised at the very end. We are going to start off with a little Black Mage's Rod, so new common card at the very least there. 1 and a black with equipment with job select, equip cost of 3, that equip the creature as +1/+0, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent in his wizard. So it essentially gives that wizard ability from the tokens there, so that's all right there. I probably wouldn't move it off the creature that it's equipped to there. It would just essentially act as another one of those tokens there. We're also going to get Gone, Town of Ruin there, which is going to be our black-green version of the tapped town. So, you know, we'll take it there since we don't have that version yet. We're also going to be getting a little blitzball shot. This is one new one as well. 1 and a green for an instant with target creature gets +3/+3 and trample until end of turn there. So it's essentially saying that the 1 green is your giant growth, and then the extra 1 is there, it's going to give trample there, so that could be decent there. I don't think it's going to replace the monstrous rage though, but you know, it's a decent one there. It just doesn't permanently give them a +1/+1. Ooh, and we're getting one of my favorite uncommons from the set, some Overkill, a foil version of this, 2 and a black for an instant with target creature gets -0, -9,999 until end of turn there. My goodness there, you know, definitely taking something off the table. Again, it doesn't deal damage, it doesn't destroy something, it just gives something that -9,999, so you can make sure to remove something unless they've gone infinite with something. So all in all, I really, really like that. I'm glad that I got that one in foil there, just because it was kind of one of my uncommon cards that I was seeking. Up next, we're going to get a new legendary creature, Giat, King of Dwarves, a red and a white 1/1 legendary dwarf noble with double strike, and whenever it or another dwarf you control ETBs, and whenever an equipment you control enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card there, so you get to sift through your deck a little bit there. So, you know, an interesting one there. Probably not something that's at the top of my list to use there, so we are going to keep on moving on to a little bit of Eden Seat of the Sanctum. Another town, tapping for colorless, doesn't have to come in tapped, from Final Fantasy XIII, and it's going to have an extra ability of 5 and tap this, so essentially 6 mana, to mill 2 cards, then you may return. Then you may sacrifice this land. When you do, return target permanent from your graveyard to your hand there. You know, it's okay there. You know, for 6 mana, you're bringing something back, but also sacrificing a land. Not probably at the forefront of stuff that I'd be looking to do there with that sort of mana. So, nice artwork there, but we're going to pass on it. And then we're also going to get another one of my uncommons that I was seeking after, Freya Crescent. 1 red for a 1/1 legendary Rat Knight with jump. Just like our other ones there, it gets flying until during your turn there, and you can tap this to add red. You can spend this only to cast equipment spells or activate equip abilities there, which isn't too bad in these artifact-centric decks, especially equipment-centric ones there for potentially like a Voltron commander there, or if you want to go wide with like Cloud there. However, like I said, red knights are, or red mages are some of my favorite ones there because it means so much to me in Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced there with Eldina's Cup and Elda there. So getting a Freya is really, really nice there for me. So I'll certainly take that. And we're also going to be getting another numbered Prompto Argentum. Unfortunate there. At least it's not Surge Foil, that's what it's called. At least it's not another Surge Foil of him there, or I would have been a bit disappointed there. So, you know, get another version of him there. We'll certainly keep on moving since it is a duplicate. So we are looking to get another Swamp here. Full Art Swamp from Final Fantasy V there. They're very, very beautiful. So moving on to our rares, we are going to start off with, ooh, now that is a good one there. Certainly be sleeving that one up there. So getting both art versions of it. We're getting a little bit of Buster Sword. We'd seen this one before. 3 mana to play, 2 mana to equip. Equipped creature gets +3/+2. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card and then you can cast a spell from your hand without paying its mana cost with less than or equal to the damage that you had dealt. My goodness, this one is very, very good. I would absolutely love to be able to play this on Lightning there because it goes very, very well with her stuff there, especially if you're somehow able to give her double strike there. That would be absolutely insane for it there. So again, it's a duplicate, but it's a new artwork of it there. It's a foil version, so it's going to have some value into it there because the Buster Sword does have value, so I'm really, really glad to get that. Up next there, we are going to grab our next one, which is going to be this Squall Seed Mercenary that we had gotten before. So unfortunately, the third Squall that we have seen there, but, you know, we could probably end up using him in some form of decks there. We'll find some usage for him, but again, you know, third copy of him there. So we will take it and keep on moving on to our other one there, which is going to be a Stragoan Realm from the Commander decks there, which I believe this is one that I wanted to get another extra copy of because target opponent exiles top card of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery or creature, and you can cast it without paying its mana cost there. So you get a free spell, or if it's a creature, you get the, you get to attack with it with haste. It sacrifices at the end of turn, but it's your opponent's stuff there. So, you know, another entry into that. I'm going to play your deck type of deal, and it's only 3 to cast to use its ability. I'm digging it. Up next, we are going to be getting... Now, this is what we are talking about. And oh my goodness, like, they were in the same pack. Like, this is meant to be. Like, how could it not be? We got the numbered version. This one's going to be so much... This is so good, not only because it's a good card, it's got some value behind it there, but specifically because it's going to be easier to pull the regular version of this there in play boosters, which I'll probably be getting quite a bit once they start going down in price there, once they've gotten more printings out. Double white for a 2/1 legendary human soldier mercenary with when it ETBs, you search your library for an equipment card, you reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. As long as Cloud is equipped, if an ability of Cloud or an equipped equipment attached to it triggers, that ability triggers an additional time there. So it can trigger the playing cards from your hand there. That's why it's so good with him there. And when you put this on him there, he'll become a 5/3, and then 5 plus the 2 makes 7. You know, we're trying to find as many ways as possible to put 7s on all of these cards there. But my goodness, what a fantastic card there. Oh my. Oh, that's such a good one to get there. And it was meant to be with where it is, getting it with Buster Sword, and we get Bahamut as well. Oh my. Okay, so coming up next is going to be our bonus sheet card, which is going to be, and based off of how it's a little bit warped a little bit, I'm assuming it's foil, which is always good. We're going to be getting a Thrum of Vestige, so just your good old classic lightning bolt, nothing fantastic, but it's going to have that Final Fantasy XIII artwork there, so I'll certainly take that. A little bit of red for lightning bolt, instant that'll deal 3 damage to any target there. We will absolutely take that one there. New one there, but it's also foil as well, so we'll take any of these as possible. You know, we're looking for certain ones of those there, but, you know, as it is, we'll certainly take it there. We've got our little chocobo bird there, but our big important card at the very end here is going to be another Kuja. Okay, so we had gotten this one there before, and the last one there. Kuja was actually the very last card that I pulled in the packs there. This is literally the card that my camera died as I was recording. This is the one that came up with it there. And it's got its little transform on the back there, which gives it its monkey tail and its weirdness from Final Fantasy IX there. You know, we'll absolutely take another copy of it there since it's good, but it is, again, the third version that we have of it there. So we are looking for, I mean, if it's going to give us repeats, like give us like stuff like Buster Sword or Cloud there, Lightning, Vivi, you know, we'll certainly take any of those repeats there. Or if it wants to give me like the numbered versions of the commanders there, we'll certainly take those as well. Alrighty. So up next there, we're going to have a little bit of more Bonga Hero. We've only had Bongas and Vieras, and they've been alternating. We started Bonga, then got Viera, then Bonga, then Viera, and now we've got Bonga again. And we've got a copy on the back there. And okay, so it is not a double face card. So unfortunately, we know it's not Sephiroth there, but it could be anything. So we are going to go into our first one there. Baron Airship Kingdom there is going to be our blue and red version of the Tap Town. Don't have that one either there, so, you know, we'll certainly take that. We're going to get a little bit of Fate of the Sun Crest. Didn't have this one here. 4 and a white for an instant. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a tapped creature. Destroy target non-land permanent there. So you can get rid of Artifact, Enchantment, Planeswalker. You know, we talked about all of these ones that it can get. But if you specifically target a tapped creature, it only costs 3. So not terrible there. Just, you know, it's a little bit expensive. We're also going to get an Ice Flan. Ooh, again, this one has some, what would you call it there? Nostalgia there for me because the Flans were kind of a big enemy to face in Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. So this is going to be 4 and 2 blue for a 5/4 elemental ooze with when this ETBs, you tap target artifact or creature an opponent controls. And you put a stun counter on it there. So stun counters, good with the Tita stuff and getting proliferate. And it'll just have some island walk in case you need a an extra island there. So it'll just ETB for the stun counter on it there. So unless you're able to utilize that there to potentially do something extra with it, it's not a terribly good card. A lot of these creatures in this set don't seem to be there, but it's nice to get it for nostalgia value. We're also going to get a little bit of realm sketching there. 2 and 2 blue for an sorcery with create a token that's a copy of target artifact, creature, or land. So we get a lot of different possibilities there of getting it there. It doesn't go away at end of turn there. So if it's a really good land there, you know, potentially we could be using it multiple times there. I don't know if Cabal Coffers is a legendary land. If it's not, then, I mean, getting multiple Cabal Coffers is not a terrible thing to do there, so we'll certainly take that there. Being able to copy a lot of different stuff is really nice there. So, seems like it's a little bit of an upgrade, whereas something like Clone is just it enters as a copy of target creature. We're also going to get, a foil version of Zac Fair there, so that is going to be a nice one there. Mr. Spiky here with the Buster Sword passed down from Angeal there. Man, did we get Zac Fair in the one that we got? Nope, we didn't get Zac Fair in the Buster Sword Cloud one. That would have been absolutely perfect there. So we're going to go on to our next one there, which is going to be Summon Fenrir just in the regular artwork there. So we got the full art version of that. So if we would use it, we'd probably use that one there. But getting the multiple artworks in the foil is always nice there. So we'll certainly take that as one we hadn't had before. Up next there, we are going to get a full art version of Ambrosia Whiteheart. We had gotten both a foil version of the non-extended art, but we also got a foil version of its alternate art there. So, getting more versions of it there. We'll be looking forward to getting some other stuff as well. And in our big uncommon slot there, the foils there, we're going to be getting a foil Clash of the Icons there. So we'd gotten that one before. Like I said, it's very good in Riku of the Many Paths because of how many extra things that you can do with it there. And, having so many different abilities of it there, I think is very, very nice for it. And going to be getting this nice relaxing beach from Final Fantasy X there. Hopefully catching all the people in their swimsuits there to be able to see how good they look. And for our first rare, we're going to be getting a wind crystal. So we got fire and water there. So now we're getting wind for our foil. So it's not the best in the alternate arts in terms of value. So maybe we'll get something better later on there. 2 and 2 white for a legendary artifact with white spells. You cast, cost 1 less to cast, so you get the Pearl Medallion. If you would gain life, you gain twice that much instead. Hello, Hope. You want to be running this as well. And 4 and 2 white creatures you control gain flying and lifelink until end of turn. Giving them that lets you be able to gain a lot of life and gives them evasion so that you can hit into people there. If you're running Hope, it seems like you should be wanting to run Wind Crystal there. So absolutely will be playing that one there with Hope there of just your random white-blue mill deck. Up next, we are going to be getting a Minwu White Mage there. Didn't see this one before. 3 and 2 white for a 3/3 legendary human cleric with lifelink and vigilance. Whenever you gain life, you put a +1/+1 counter on each cleric you control. So if you're playing a little bit of those Soul Sisters, I think that they are clerics as well, so you can make them big as well. Lifelink, and it's a cleric itself, so it gets big there. So along with those, Ajani Pride Mates there, this essentially does that specifically with clerics. So another good one potentially to have in the Hope deck there. And just looking back at Hope to see, he is a wizard, unfortunately not a cleric. So unless you've got a way to change his typing there, he won't get any bigger. And the other one we're going to get in that slot there is going to be another Umaru Raging Yeti. Like I said, it's funny to see a Yeti, something that you'd normally associate with like snow and whatnot there, to be blue, though I guess they live up in mountains potentially there. But, just one of those random combat triggers there, just so that, you can be like, oh, it wasn't me. And potentially you could have someone else do it there to be like, it's their fault type of deal. So next up is going to be our... what is it? Is this going to be non-foil good card there? Oh, yep, I'm getting another Tidus Uno's Guardian there. So we are getting both of the commanders from that set there. Being able to use him in multiple decks there now that we are getting, this is the 3rd version of him that we have. Again, I wish that we had gotten some other stuff there that we didn't have before, but we'll certainly take that one there. Up next, we are going to be getting from our bonus sheet another Battle at the Bridge there with its really nice artwork. It's nice there, but this is going to be the 3rd copy of that one that we have. I wish that we could get some other ones there. And for our final big card here, we are going to be getting a Midgar City of Mako, which again is going to be a duplicate from one that we had before. I think that they're interesting, but it would be nice to get some other cards as well. So unfortunately, getting some duplicates on here. This is going to be 6-pack there, so hopefully we're going to get a little bit of luck from materia magic or the grace of the crystals there to be able to get some extra stuff that we don't have in this one here because, we got this Minwu was new there and the Wind Crystal there, but, we're looking for some really nifty stuff to come along down the way. We're continuing on with our trend of alternating between Viras and Bongas there. So that's going to keep on going. Oh, and we're going to get a frog for Ku, so that's really, really nice there. And it looks like we have a double-faced card at the very end, so we are going to put that in. Hopefully it's going to be something really, really good there. We're going to get a little bit of Adventurer's Airship, which we didn't have. 3 and 3/2 for a vehicle with crew 2, flying, and when it attacks you, draw a card and then discard a card. So it seems a little bit like Smuggler's Copter, just not quite as good there. Going to get a little bit of Blazing Bomb, another standard creature that you have there that, again, showed up in Tactics Advance. 1 red for a 1/1 elemental with whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, you put a +1/+1 on this. So it goes along with those other ones that are looking for the 4 mana there. And blow up, tap, and sack this creature, deals damage equal to its power to target creature. Unfortunately, it's only to target creature there. I wish it was to target permanent or like to each opponent there, but then it probably wouldn't be a common. But for 1, it's not too bad there. But, 4 mana spell there, you're probably not pumping it up until later. We're also going to get a little bit of instant ramen. Oh my. Who would have thought that we'd get a little bit of instant ramen in Magic the Gathering? 2 mana for a food spell with flash, so you can play it in at any time there, and when it enters, you draw a card, and it's a food, so you can pay 2 and sacrifice it to tap and sack to gain 3 life there. Pretty standard for food there, nothing too out of the ordinary. Next up, we're going to get another foil Ambrosia Whiteheart, so getting a lot of those Ambrosia Whitehearts there. I guess it really wants me to play the bird decks there, which I do want to do. I just got to get more. And we'll just ignore that one there because we're going to get an elixir here. Fully recovers HP and MP. Absolutely it does. We love them there. 1 colorless for an artifact that enters tapped, and you can pay 5 and tap this to exile this and shuffle all non-land cards from your graveyard into your library, and you gain life equal to the number of cards shuffled into your library this way. Oh, so if you mill yourself out, you could potentially heal yourself up a whole lot with this for hope there. This reminds me of Elixir of Immortality that does a similar thing where when it ETBs, it enters tapped and you can tap it to put everything in your graveyard back into your library. So that's a nifty one there. And we're also going to be getting a foil Ultimecia there. I can't remember if we had gotten a full art version of her, but even if, but I do like her artwork there. She looks really, really good in her red dress there, and she looks like an absolute monster in that there, as she should. Taking an extra turn when she transforms is really nice there. I don't know if it's going to be along the lines of when you flicker her, if she transforms back. I'd have to look at that because then maybe it's a potential way of taking infinite turns there or something, but we're going to ignore that one there. Oh, and we're going to get a full art Sid there. This is going to be Sid from Final Fantasy XIV there. We had gotten the foil version of the Final Fantasy III one there, but getting this one is going to be really nice there because there are, 16 different Sids in these white-blue versions, and obviously the white one in the commander deck there. So getting an extra Sid is always a very nice one there. And it looks like for our foil there, we are going to be getting a Crystal Fragments, which I had gotten last time as well in this same treatment there. It's going to give equipped creature +1/+1. It only costs 1 and costs 1 white and then 1 to equip. But then it takes 7 to transform it into Summon Alexander, which is going to be a 4/3 enchantment saga that ultimately does not transform back afterwards, unfortunately. It does prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to creatures you control, so maybe that's going to be worth it. This last one there taps down all creatures your opponents control, so you can swing in if you want to there. But already have that version there, so we'll take it there just because we can't really do anything else. For our foil there, we're going to get planes first with our boy bands there going off into the distance. But for our actual rare, we're going to be getting a triple triad. Okay. We've gotten the alternate art version of this one before. So again, another repeat just in the regular version there for it there. I think it's a very interesting enchantment that I will definitely try to give a try for. So a good one to get a duplicate for, just not the most amazing one. Up next from our full arts there, we're going to get another Ultimate Magic Meteor to go along with the Ultimate Magic Holy that we got in the Commander sample packs there. It's got that foretell cost there. And, I mean, obviously you want to play it from exile because then you get to destroy an artifact or land for each opponent there, as well as dealing 7 damage to each creature there. So, another good one to get there, as it is kind of like a board removal spell as well as target removal to get rid of an artifact or land that's causing problems. Our other one of that is going to be summon Magus Sisters there. Yeah, we did not see this one yet there. I thought that we had, but I would have... Oh no, we did see it there. I was like, why did I see it before? It's because it's from the Commander decks there. So this is what, the alternate version of it there, an extended version of it. Get one chosen at random for 3 turns there of 3 1/1s on target creature, shield counter on target creature, and you gain 3 life, or this fights another target creature and opponent controls there. It has haste, so it can attack in on the first turn there. I mean, the +1/+1s and the shield counter go well with Tidus. That's why it's in that deck there. All right, so next up we're going to have our non-foil cool card there, which is going to be a Furion. Okay, we didn't get a Furion before, so we'll take that there. 2 and a red for a 3/3 legendary human rebel warrior. With equipped creatures you control have haste, so if you're able to equip up a creature there, when it comes in there with something cheap, you can give it haste, even if it's not something like Swiftfoot Boots or Lightning Greaves there. So that's really nice there. Whenever a non-token equipment you control ETBs, you create a token that's a copy of it, except that it has this equipment's equipped abilities cost 2 less to activate. Sacrifice that token at the beginning of the next upkeep there, which honestly is really, really nice, because if you put in an equipment there that has a low equip cost, like Buster Sword there, -2, Buster Sword equips for 0 at that point there. Now, I don't think that this is going to really impact anything there, since it really doesn't do anything as it ETBs there, and it doesn't have haste in and of itself there. But I do think that this could be an interesting one there of, that could go along with maybe the Cloud Commander deck there, of giving your equipped creatures haste there to be able to attack in. So glad to get that one there. I like playing Furion in Dissidia and Dissidia Duodecim, so, I kind of dig him there. And next up for our bonus sheet card, we are going to be getting another Lucas Stadium. So Strixhaven Stadium, unfortunate, we already have this one. It's not the most amazing there. I mean, it seems like it can go well in Tidus, but it's unfortunate that we are getting duplicates of some of those ones there when there are other ones to get. But for our big card that we are going to be getting this time, it's going to be Magic, Materia, Crystals, and it looks like we're going to get a little bit of Jet Reluctant Guardian. Okay, it's a new card at the very least, so we'll certainly take it there. Just, we're looking for other stuff there. We're 6 packs in, still have not seen a Surge Foil, unfortunately, so I don't know why my luck is being so bad with these particular packs. These are good, and I definitely appreciate that, and the Emmet Selch as well. It's just, I wish that the Surge Foils would come a little bit easier. 3 and a black for a 4/3 legendary human warrior with Menace. With when this deals combat damage to a player, you may exile it, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. So all you need to do is just deal some combat damage. It's going to return as a 7/7 Saga creature with Braska's Final Aeon. Jet Beam, 1 and 2, each opponent discards a card and you draw a card there. Okay, that can be pretty nifty. And Ultimate Jet Shot, each opponent sacrifices 2 creatures of their choice there. So they also remove stuff on their board. They're going to pick their 2 weakest things, though, unfortunately. It does not come back, though. I mean, it kind of makes sense with how the story ends up going there. But all you need to do is deal a little bit of damage to get a 7/7 that can be swinging in at them there with Menace and, getting them to discard cards and sacrifice creatures. Not a terrible card there. I definitely see places where I could put it in there. And it's nice getting new cards rather than duplicates there. Okay, halfway through, and let's hope to get a little bit of luck on these ones here. Magic, materia, crystals, summons, whatever have you there. You know, we're sending out the vibes for it. Finally getting something other than Bongas and Viras, but maybe a new trend is going to happen. We're going to have Hero and Bird and no double face, so we are going to be able to save that there. Starting off with a little Adventurers In. Saw this one before. ETBs, you gain 2 life. Can tap it for colorless there. A little bit of Town Tribal for you. We're also going to get a little bit of Corner by Black Mages again there. Third opponent sacrifice a creature of their choice. You get the Black Mage that pings for 1 there. That's a good one to get there for the Spellcaster deck there, and pinging. A little bit of Dwarven Castle Guard there, and a new one there. 1 and a white for 2/1 Dwarf Soldier. When this dies, you'll create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token there. Poor guard there. You know, you get to replace it afterwards, but that's a little bit sad. A little bit of Ilmeg Pixie there. A 1 and a blue for 2/1 Fairy with Flying. That whenever this attacks, you surveil 1. That's not too bad. And put in a Pixie Fairy deck there. Be a nice addition for that one there. Also going to get another Lock Coal like we did last time there. A little bit of Looter when he deals combat damage, and he's got Death Touch and Lifelink, kind of like your Vampire Nighthawk there. So instead of flying, it's going to have the looting ability, but it basically is just a Vampire Nighthawk. We're also going to be getting a Gold Saucer, a new town there for land. Tap for a colorless. You can pay 2 and tap to flip a coin. If you win the flip, you create a treasure token there. So good in the Krark's Thumb deck there, and you can pay 3 and tap to sacrifice 2 artifacts to draw a card there. So you can get rid of those treasures if you want to get some extra card draw, if mana is not what you're looking for there. All right, nice. Oh, we got it. So we're going to get a little bit of Garnet, Princess of Alexandria, like we had seen last time there. Green and white, removing lore counters, from any number of sagas to put +1/+1s on her there, but she also gets some, they get to remain on the field and whatnot there, but more importantly, we are going to have our numbered Vanille in foil. Oh yeah, that is what we wanted to see, to be able to go along with our Fang. Now, I really wish that they did have Partner there to be able to utilize this mechanic a little bit easier there, but getting that foil version of her is very, very nice. We will 100% absolutely take that there. Oh yeah, I'm glad to be getting that. And we're also going to be getting a mountain here from Final Fantasy VI there. Going on into our rares, we're going to start off with Earth Crystal. So now we have 4 of the 5 crystals. We just need the Darkness Crystal there. 2 and 2 green for a legendary artifact. Green spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Get your good old, Emerald Medallion there. If 1 or more +1/+1s would be put on a creature you control, twice that many are put on that creature instead. Also pretty good there. You know, goes good with Tidus and whatnot there. So, addition there. 4 and 2 green, you can tap this to distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures you control there. And all in all, it's going to be putting 4 out there. So, if you've got some extra mana that you want to utilize, there is that there. So, we got 4 of the 5 crystals so far, so we're on our way to defeating Chaos, I guess. Up next, we're going to be getting a little Summon GF Cerberus. Okay, a little bit of mechanical Cerberus, I guess. 2 red for a 3/3 Enchantment Saga Dog with Surveil 1 when it ETBs there, so you get to look, determine what you get there. On its second one there, double. When you next cast an instant or sorcery, this turn you copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Very, very nice there. And triple, when you next cast an instant or sorcery, spell copy it twice. Copying stuff. I know exactly where this is going there. I'm not attacking in with this there. I am going to be looking to copy so many spells with that. It's not an amazing card there, but it's one that I will absolutely use. So that's a good one for me. Up next, we're going to get a little bit of Transpose from the commander decks there, which I like this one here, so getting another one is decent. drawing a card, discard a card, you lose a life, and then you get the 0/1 black wizard creature token there, and it rebounds on the next turn, so you essentially get it again for free. You know, always like that one there. That's it's a pretty decent one for those spellcasters there, because getting to play something for free is nice. This is going to be a non-foil nifty card there, which is going to be foil and non-foil. So unfortunately, already have this version, and it would have been nice to get maybe a full art there, but getting another lightning absolutely is amazing there. You know, if it was in the last slot there, a surge foil would be nice instead of like a regular foil there, but getting another lightning is something that I absolutely love. So that's another hit there for me. Getting multiple lightnings is really, really good. And for our bonus sheet card, we're going to be getting, oh, look how cool he looks there. Gilgamesh from Final Fantasy V there. Weapon collector, and he's being a Godo bandit warlord there. So some good effects on that one there, and getting another new one there is always nice. 5 and a red for a 3/3. Legendary human barbarian with, when he ETBs, you search your library for an equipment card, put it on the battlefield, and then shuffle. And whenever he attacks for the first time each turn, you untap it and all samurai you control. And there is and after this phase, there is an additional combat phase there. So always an interesting one off of there. So glad to get a new one of that, and the foiling looks so good on that one there, so we'll absolutely take that one there. All right, and the last card there, maybe the Chocobo Bird is going to give us a little bit of luck, because this last one is going to be a, unfortunately, another water crystal in this same artwork. So, you know, 3 crystals all in this one here. Just we're getting one repeat one. But at the very least, you know, even though we got some repeats there of, you know, lightning there, we got the GF Cerberus, a new crystal, you know, we got the transpose there as well, but we did get the new Gilgamesh there, but getting another lightning is exciting in and of itself. So hoping for a little bit more pack luck here. What can we possibly get here? Magic, materia, crystals, anything, give us the luck. Okay, we're getting some new heroes now. We're getting a little cat as well as a copy, and it looks like we are going to have non-double face card there, so put that off to the side. We're going to get a little blitzball with its go there to be able to put in for your mana rock. And we're going to be getting a Retrieve the Esper, 3 and a blue for a sorcery, create a 3/3 blue robot warrior, artifact creature token. Then if this spell was cast from a graveyard, you put 2 +1/+1s on it there, and it has flashback of 5 and a blue there. Okay, you know, just your standard flashback spell there. Getting a little bit of Rabanister, Royal City there, to get a little bit of the red and white there. So continuing to get more of those is nice in the foiling. All right, up next we're going to get a little bit of Opera Love Song. 1 and a red for an instant with choose 1. You exile the top 2 cards of your library, and you can play those until your next turn. Or 1 or 2 target creatures each get +2/+0 until end of turn there. You know, could pump up lightning if you really want to there. But being able to play a couple of extra things on your turn is nice. We're also going to get a little bit of a Reach the Horizons, 3 and a green for a sorcery. Search your library for up to 2 basic lands and or town cards with different names. You put them on the battlefield tapped and then shuffle. You know, getting a little bit of mana ramp there where you can get some non-basics there. That's kind of nice. And it looks like we're going to get a foil double-faced one here of Side Quest Card Collection. 3 and a blue for an enchantment with, when this ETBs, you draw 3 and then discard 2. So you're about even when this comes out. You know, it essentially replaces itself. At the beginning of your end step, if 8 or more cards are in your graveyard, you transform this. That's not too terrible to get. So, you know, 4 to end up getting a magicked card, a 4/4 vehicle with flying crew 1. Meh, you know, it's just a crew 1 for a 4/4 flyer with no extra abilities. But, you know, you have to pay 4 to get it out at some point there. So it's a little bit of a meh. We're also going to get another stolen uniform with that cool artwork on it there, just non-foil. So yeah, it's there. I'm going to be using a version of it there. And for our big one there, we're going to be getting another Summon Fat Chocobo. Look how adorable he is with those Moogles. Man. A pleasingly plump summon, I do say so myself. Gonna get up our wastes there. So it's very interesting that we are getting the wastes in these as well. So nice to be able to have those as an option to play. For our first rare, we're going to be getting a, so the other version of Summon Primal Odin will certainly take one of these as well. You know, getting different ways of being able to destroy things there, different sagas that we could put this in, get, you know, a little bit of Tom Bombadil action and whatnot there to be able to try to remove off lore counters so it can permanently keep that there. Maybe have lore counters go all the way down to 0 so you can keep on getting Gungnir to pop off there. You know, another alternate artwork. Again, we're pretty low on terms of the mythics that we've gotten because it's like we got these 4 and then the 2 from there. I don't know if technically some of these are considered mythics there or rares or whatnot there, but it's a little bit low on mythics. Up next, we're going to be looking at another Zancanard Ancient Metropolis that we had seen before there, just this time non-foil because we had the extended art one there as well. So again, more duplicates there, not exactly what we're looking to see. And we're also going to get a Waka Devoted Guardian, which honestly, I think that this is a decent one there to be able to get another copy of from the commander decks because it has trample and when it deals combat damage to a player. So if it goes over, you destroy one of their artifacts and you get a +1/+1 on this so that it becomes bigger and you've got a better chance of getting rid of that there. And if you put a counter on him, you also put a +1/+1 on every other creature that you control there. Honestly, it's a pretty decent one to get another one of there. So this is going to be our non-foil cool card. Or no, it's going to be a... Oh, I guess it's either a foil, a non-foil cool card, or I guess maybe a foil card from the commander decks there, I guess. Chocobo Knights, 3 and a white for a 3/3 human knight with whenever you attack, creatures you control with counters on them gain double strike there. You know, always a nifty one there. So getting a foil version there is nice. And from our bonus sheets, we're going to be getting a Wild Rose Rebellion. So the counter spell like we had gotten last time there, you know, gotten a version of that one there before. So unfortunate to get another duplicate on that one there, but for our final one of the pack there, we're looking for a little bit of luck, and what we're going to be getting is, it looks like we're finishing off all of our crystals there. We've got the Darkness Crystal this time here, so wish it was more of like a normal card so we could get like a super cool card here, but, you know, we're getting a new card at the very least. 2 and 2 black for a legendary artifact with black spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, so, you know, you're getting your Jet Medallion. And if a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile it and you gain 2 life there. So a little bit of graveyard hazing there. 4 and 2 black to tap to put target creature card exiled with the Darkness Crystal onto the battlefield tapped under your control with 2 +1/+1 counters on it there. That one actually isn't too bad there. I think that this is probably one of the better ones there that have come up because, you know, for 6 you can bring back something really, really powerful that went to the graveyard there. I think that could be really good. All right, 4 packs remaining there, and we still only have 4 mythics there, and then the second one there. Maybe Emmet is another one, I don't know. But here's to a little bit of luck from Magecraft, Materia, Magic, crystals, and whatnot there. Again, no Surge foils there, so I'm not gonna lie, I feel a little bit of jealous for the people that are getting multiple Surge foils in their packs there. So the beautiful hero and a bird and nothing, no dual face there. So we're going to be getting a little bit of Vincent's Limit Break there. So, you know, a little bit more of that not quite dead feel for us. We're also going to get another combat tutorial with that better divination there. Oh, I guess he's beating up a Flan. We're also going to get a little bit of Magic Tech Infantry, 1 white for a 1/1 Artifact Robot Soldier. It gets +1/+0 as long as you control another artifact. So if you control 2 of them, you can pay 3 to search your library for another one there and put it on the battlefield tapped. So, then there's 2 of them there, so they get +1/+0. We're also going to get a little bit of Summon Primal Garuda, which we had gotten in the last one there. I just never showed it off there. Nothing too special deal there. 4 damage to target tapped creature an opponent controls. Another creature you control get +1/+0 on flying there. So again, they're never super amazing there. We don't want to look at that there. We already know what it is. Unexpected Request to a red for a new sorcery with gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap it. It gains haste until end of turn. You may attach an equipment you control to that creature. If you do, unattach it at the beginning of the next end step there. So you get to just steal something and equip one of your equipments to it to be able to deal some damage. It's okay there. Nothing super fantastic. We're also going to get another foil version of Emperor of Palamecia there. I really, really like this one. Get some extra mana to spend on spells. This is another one here with the 4 mana. You get to put +1/+1s on him, and then you get to start dealing damage when he attacks based off of the non-creature spells you have in the graveyard. We're getting a 4th one of this Crystal Fragments here with the Alexander on the back there. Nothing super special with that there. And we're going to be getting another foil version of Shiva as well. Getting those stun counters there, so it'll help out with the Tidus deck if we want to put stun counters out on those there. And drawing cards for tapped creatures could be nifty with those ones there. We are going to be getting another Plains here, so normal. And it looks like we are going to be getting our 4th Joshua there, getting a foil version of his regular artwork there. It's nice to have the cards there, but when you get so many of a certain one there, getting repeats when there are some really, really good cards in there, not exactly what you're looking for. Up next, we're going to be getting another Snort there. Wasn't my favorite card from that Terra Commander deck there. It's another copy of it there, so we'll take it. Other one that we're going to get there is going to be a little bit of, a new one here, Balthier and Fran from Final Fantasy XII there. Getting a little bit of Vera action. Fran is absolutely beautiful as always. 1 a red and a green for a 4/3 legendary human rabbit with reach. So already pretty good, getting a 4/3 for 3. Vehicles you control have +1/+1, have vigilance and reach. So that's a nifty one there. They don't have to tap when attacking. And whenever a vehicle crewed by Balthier and Fran this turn attacks, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, you may pay 1 red and a green. If you do, after this phase, there is an initial combat phase. That's really nice as well. We'll certainly take Balthier and Fran. They do good in obviously a vehicle deck there. So, nifty little one there. So we're going to have our first cool card, which, let's get something cool. Getting a little Eye of Nidhogg, a foil version of that one there, which I thought was an interesting one from those ones there, though I wish it would have been something more like Lightning or Cloud there. But, goad something, give it flying and death touch, and then when it goes to the graveyard, it goes back to your hand to equip to something else. So, it's a foil version of it there. It'll be nifty. Bonus card is going to be an Imperial City of Arcades, which is going to be a Wall of Omens. So, new one there, but not a super amazing one there. 1 and a white for a 0/4 wall with the vendor. When it ETBs, you draw a card there. So, just kind of your standard one there. Goes in your Toughness Matters type of deck there. And for a big fancy card, we are going to end up getting an Excalibur 2 in its alternate artwork there. So this is going to be 1 mana to play 3 to equip for a legendary equipment with whenever you gain life, you put a charge counter on Excalibur 2. An equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each charge counter on Excalibur 2. Okay, so you essentially have something there with, what would you call it there? It's a Johnny's Pride Mate type of one there. It could go good in the Hope deck, anything that gains life to essentially get something up really high there. It's got charge counter, so I guess you could proliferate them with Tidus if you really wanted to there. But I think it's going to be a fine card, nothing over the top. last third of the deck, the packs there. At least we got something new with pretty much everything. I mean, that one wasn't, but I mean, and the Joshua wasn't, but I mean, we got some more new cards. That's really, really nifty, but still kind of short on the mythics there. Again, it'd be really nice to get another Vivi or to get like a Sephiroth there. Gonna get a hero this time in the cat version there, and it looks like we are not gonna get a double face there, so we'll just do it in normal. A little bit of Town Greeter, we got this one last time. Mills, you can put a land from your hand, put a land from among them into your hand, and then you get to gain a couple of life there if you put it into your hand. If it's a town, we're also going to get a little bit of Aerith rescue mission there, based off of that that one there, where you can either take the elevator and get up there fresh, or you can take the flights and you can tap target creatures down there. One of them gets a stun counter. Very big reference to the Final Fantasy VII mission there. Undercity Dire Rat. Okay. 1 and a black for a 2/2 rat with rat tail. When it dies, you create a treasure. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's just a pretty simple rat for us. Get a little bit of Crystals Chosen there. 5, I think we had gotten this one there. 5 and 2 white, create 4 colorless heroes, and you put a +1/+1 on each creature you control. If you got to go wide board, you can do it there, but it's 7 mana to play. It's a lot of mana for that effect there. Oh, yes, another one of my uncommon cards that I was looking for, Tonberry. Again, showing up in the Final Fantasy Tactics Advance there. 1 black for a 2/1 Salamander Horror that enters with a stun counter on it. And it has Chef Knife with, during your turn, it has First Strike and Death Touch there. So it's always going to strike in first and kill whatever it is fighting, unless it has Indestructible there. Very, very nice one to just get a copy of, especially in foil. I wanted that. We're also going to get another new legendary here of Renoa Heartily. 3, a green and a white for a 4/4 legendary human rebel warlock. With when it ETBs, you create Angelo, a legendary 1/1 green and white dog creature token. And Angelo can, whenever Renoa attacks, another target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature you control. So another go wide board there, giving one thing a bit bigger there. And as we know from this one, this is another Vanille there. So we're getting 3 Vanilles all in this one here. Fang must be thrilled to be getting so many, essentially like little sister partners there to be going in. And for our fancy one there, we're going to get a foil of the Summon Esper Rama there, giving your wizards a little bit extra power there, and dealing damage to target creature based off of your non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard there. So nice, nice. Getting a little bit of foil of this island from Final Fantasy VIII there. Okay. And our first rare is going to end up being a Noctis. Okay, so a new one there for us. Noctis, Prince of Lucius. 1, a white, a blue, and a black for a 4/3 legendary human noble with lifelink. You may cast artifact spells from your graveyard by paying 3 life in addition to its other costs, and if you cast a spell this way, that artifact enters with a finality counter on it. Not too shabby there. Bring back some big equipments there that you might want, or artifact creatures there. I like it. It's something new there. We'll certainly take that. Also going to be getting a little bit on the regular artwork just extended there of Cypher Omasi that we had gotten in the previous one there. Creature attacks alone, it gets double strike. If he deals damage to a player, you get to play a 3 mana or less instant or sorcery from your graveyard for free, and then it gets exiled there. Oh, that's regular one there. Well, we'll take the new artwork there. And we're also going to be getting a little bit of another town here there. Jador Aristocratic Capital, as the other ones do, enters tapped and provides blue, but its adventure is going to be 4 and 2 blue to have target opponent mill half their library rounded down. Oh my. A little bit of that half library milling there to come out with there. That can be pretty impactful depending on how big your mill strategy is. Oh, I guess we get a knight on this one here. I didn't look on the back side of it. But we're also going to be getting a Wrecking Ball arm from foil from the commander decks there. You know, 2 to play, 3 to equip to a legendary creature, or 7 to equip to anything there. Gets power and toughness 7/7, can't be blocked by creatures 2 or less. Not too shabby there. Unfortunately, does not give trample, which I kind of would much more dig with that one there. But, you know, it'd be nice to put that onto lightning there. Give her the 7/7 stats with first strike and trample, seems pretty nice. And our bonus sheet card is going to be a Vaughn Aspiring Sky Pirate. It's going to be a 2. It's going to be a Captain Lannery Storm. Okay, nothing super amazing there, but, you know, we'll certainly take another foil new card there. 2 in a red, 2/2, Legendary Human Pirate with haste. When it attacks, you get a treasure. Whenever you attack a treasure, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Again, I don't think that this one is going to be super valuable there, but, you know, we'll certainly take it there as just an additional one we didn't have. And our last big one there is going to be, oh, that's a good one there. Yeah, getting a foil Yuna Hope of Spirit with that number in the background there. Oh yeah, we'll certainly take that one there. Finally getting up another mythic, and it's going to be a good one there. Unfortunately, still no Surge Foil, so I'm kind of nervous about that there. 3, a green and a white for a 3/5 Legendary Human Cleric with during your turn. Unit enchantment creatures you control have Trample, Lifelink, and Ward 2. Very, very nice there. So, you know, give something like Bahamut, Trample, Lifelink, and Ward 2 is very good. At the beginning of your end step, return up to 1 target enchantment from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it there. Something that you could bring back there because it's colorless. Yeah, Yuna is a very, very good card with all of these sagas there. So we will absolutely take another good version of her there. So getting from some of the big games there. All right, second to last pack. You know, we got some good luck in that one there. Maybe we'll get some more luck into this one as well. Alrighty, and a little bit of hero Shantoto action as well as a treasure there. And it looks like not going to be a double-faced one there. So we're going to start off with a little bit of Namazu Trader. Just a really, really catfish looking guy there. Hopefully they're not looking to catfish us there. You know, decent. A little bit of Summon GF Ifrit there, you know, kind of similar to the Cerberus if, you know, the Cerberus one was really bad there. So, you know, we're going to keep on moving from that one there. We're also going to get a little bit of Magic Damper there. Creature you control gets +1/+1 hexproof and be able to untap it for 1 blue. Not too bad there for Fang. A little bit of sleep magic there. Enchant something there. You get to tap it. It doesn't untap during untap steps. And it gets sacrificed when it's dealt damage there. 1 blue, so 1 blue to take something out of commission there. Seems nice. A little bit of Samurai's Katana there. Gives something a little bit of trample and haste and some 2/2. It's just the equip costs are really, really high there. So that's the only problem that I have with them. Ride the Shupuff. Okay, 1 and a green for an enchantment with landfall. Whenever a land you control ETBs, you put a +1/+1 on target creature you control. And 5 and 2 green, this enchantment becomes a 7/7 beast creature in addition to its other types there. Okay, interesting. That's an odd one there. We're going to get another Prompto Argentum, this time in just a extended art there. So, you know, seeing a lot of him there. He wants to show up. He craves attention. We're also going to be getting another foil Zidane Tantalus Thief there, like we had gotten last time as well. You know, plenty of those have come up there for us. And we're also going to get a foil island. I really, really like this one from Final Fantasy XIII there. I don't know. It's just a very beautiful one. So we'll absolutely take that one. First rare is going to be, we're getting both versions of Summon Bahamut. Oh my goodness. Good cards. Like, I'm not a huge fan of getting the duplicates there, but as long as it's a duplicate of a card that is really, really good and has multiple places for it there, has some good value, yeah, we'll absolutely take it. There, so another Summon Bahamut. Oh yeah, we'll certainly take that. Also going to get another Hildebrand Manderville from the commander decks there, creating zombies. Creature tokens get +1/+1. And when he dies, you can cast his adventure from the graveyard there. So he gets a bit of recursion there. So a nice one there with that recursive effect. We'll certainly have places to use that one. We're also going to... Ooh, and we're going to get a Tifa Lockhart there. That one is also going to get... one of these on here as well. Because it's got some good stuff there. Tifa Lockhart, 1 and a green for a 1/2 legendary human monk with trample and landfall. Whenever land ATBs, you control ETBs, you double Tifa's power until end of turn there. She can become a monster there. You know, it's a rare, and it's non-foil there, but it's one that we were definitely hoping to get there. So another fantastic one there. You know, there's potential for her to be doing some stuff in standard, maybe modern there, but, you know, standard Pioneer could potentially be it there. So getting a version of her is really nice. We're also going to be getting, this is where all of our mythics were at the very end there. We're getting another Ishtola Rule, this time just not in foil there, but, you know, getting another version of her, extended art version. Like I said, I have some decks in mind that I want to use her in, so getting another one of her there, being able to do stuff, and oh boy, that, again, it's a duplicate, and I'd rather get something new, but if it's going to give me something duplicated, give me something that I'm going to use or has value. Alrighty, and coming up here for our bonus sheet is going to be a Vanadil Adventures, which is going to be a Laboratory Maniac there. Now I got Laboratory Maniac. I've used it in a couple of places. But it's gotten reprinted there a few times there, so it doesn't have a whole lot of value. At least we're getting a new one from this bonus sheet there, so we'll take it there. I know it's just not the most impactful one, and there are some really, really good ones from this bonus sheet that I would have liked to have gotten. I mean, Rhystic Study, Ancient Copper Dragon, Atraxa there, those are out there. And for our big card there, we're going to be getting a Lindblom Industry Regency. So unfortunately not a super fantastic one, but it is a new one there. So, you know, we got some repeats there throughout this one there, but nothing super terrible in terms of duplicates there. My bad. Lindblom is going to be a town. Taps enters taps. You can get red from it there, and Mage Siege 2 and a red to create a one of the wizards there. So a pretty decent one on the adventure there. You know, we'll take it. I just wish that it was, you know, a non-foil and we got something better in the foil slot there. So going on to our last pack there, you know, we just opened up and we've got in the last 2 packs 3 more mythics, so now we're a lot more on the road, and we got a Tifa, which is really nice. Last pack magic, hopefully. That's what we're looking for there, being able to finish this one off strong. Now, unfortunately, I know that Buster Sword and Vivi were the big ones there. I don't think we have one that's going to be comparable to that. I know Summon Bahamut and Yuna are going to be pretty big because they are the foil alternates there, but you know, I really, really wish that we could be getting some other one that's really, really good. A little bit of hero and bird action there, and it's going to be a non-double face there. So, unfortunately, no Sephiroth to end us off with there. We are going to get a Gigantitoad there. You know, get a little bit bigger if you have 7 or more lands. I'm going to get a little bit of haste magic. Give something +3/+1 and haste, and you can exile the top card of your library and play it. A little bit of impulse draw. You know, a little bit of Paladin Arms, Job Select, +2/+1, Ward 1, and as a Knight there. And we're also going to get a Valkyrie aerial unit there, 5 and 2 blue, 5/4 construct, affinity for artifacts. So probably good chance that you might be playing this for just 2 blue there. So a 5/4 flying that ETB Surveil 2 isn't necessarily a bad thing there. So might be pretty good in Pauper there. Oops, getting a little bit of Dragoon's Lance there, 1 and a white. Job Select, it's a Knight, gets +1/+0, and during your turn it has flying there. So, you know, it is as it is. We're going to get a foil version of Rydia, Summoner of Mist. Getting multiple copies of Rydia is going to be nice to be able to put in different types of Saga decks there. So, you know, it's just another one there that I'm glad to get multiple of there if we can. Oh my. If we had to get one, that's nifty there, but I wish it was in the rare mythic slot. But we're going to get another version of Eden Seat of Sanctum there, as we did before. Like I said, not super fond of it, but getting other artworks and nice. Well, here it looks like it's probably going to be the one Surge foil that we get from this. So it looks like Vanilla is always a little bit behind on Fang, because here we are. Fang got the foil treatment in this version first, and now we got Vanilla in this one here with the foil treatment in the numbered ones, but now we've gotten Fang with the Surge foil there, which now I kind of want to get the Surge foil for Vanille to go along with it there. So getting up a good one there. At least it's not another Prompto there. You know, it's an interesting one there. And I like it. I appreciate it there. I'll definitely end up I'll probably use it in terms of, you know, using Fang, so maybe I'll bling out it there, get the forest to go along with things there. And for our rare, we're going to be looking at a Zodiarch Umbral God there, starting off a little bit with new card. That's nice. 5 black for a 5/5 legendary god with indestructible. Finally getting some gods with indestructible again. When he ETBs, each player sacrifices half the non-god creatures they control of their choice rounded down. Okay. And whenever a player sacrifices another creature, you put a +1/+1 counter on Zodiarch. Okay. So, you know, doing semi-board wipes there and getting some good stuff when players sacrifice creatures. You know, that's always a good one there to get there. Potentially have some ideas of where to put this one here. I have 2 actually in mind that I could potentially be in, though one of them is more likely than the other. So, you know, I'll be okay with one. We're also going to get another Yuffie, okay? So not too fond of this one here with the whole, you know, gaining control of an artifact as long as you get Yuffie. If it's an equipment, you put it onto her there and the red. But, you know, I like Yuffie. She's my favorite Final Fantasy VII, so, you know, I guess we'll take it. We're also going to be getting another Summon Titan, just non-foil version of him there. Big guy there, 7/7 Reach and Trampler. You know, you mill 5 cards, you return a bunch of lands from your graveyard there, and you give something Blanchwood Armor on the last effect there. It's fine. Nothing super fantastic that's going to be used a whole lot there. Cool card there. Hoping for something good. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's a Surge. Oh. Okay. There's our expensive card of the set there. Okay, you know, we're getting so many different versions of Tidus now, and now we have a Surge foil from 2 Surge foils in the same one there. Okay, so finally beat out the singular Surge foil, and we got it on an amazing one there as well. So potentially be using this as a commander there instead of the original one. Oh my goodness, what an amazing one there. Oh, last pack magic. Oh my goodness there. I didn't think that we were going to be getting it. And it's like, yeah, it'd be great to get it on like a Cloud, a Tifa, a Lightning, Sephiroth there. I will certainly take it on the Tidus there. I mean, getting on Ishtola there would be great as well. But hey, I will 100% take that. 2 Surge foil. It's possible we could get a 3rd one there. If we do, that would be insane. I'm not expecting it, but bonus sheet card. We're getting a little bit of Vayne Caritas Solidar, which is going to be a Finn the Fang Bearer, 1 and a green for a legendary human warrior, 1/3. Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters there. It's a new one there. I didn't get anything from Kaldheim. I know that this is from Kaldheim there. So getting this one there is nice. I don't know how powerful it is, but, you know, I could see you doing like a Death Touch type of deck there to be able to influence it there. Last card of the pack, though. You know, I'm not expecting a third Surge Foil, but I would like a little bit of magic there. This pack is obviously the best one there. You know, the Bahamut's, the Buster Cloud with the Buster Cloud with the Cloud, the Buster Cloud, the Buster Sword with the Cloud. Last pack magic. Last pack magic. Okay, I mean, it's nothing super fantastic, but it is going to be the other foil Jumbo Cactuar there, getting up the 1,000 Needles. I'm not mad of this being the last card there because it looks so funky there, and it's just kind of that card that kind of spiraled everything out there. But hey, you know, all in all, you know, it's different from the first one there. We got a bunch of the chase cards originally of the alternate art for Buster's Sword. We got a shiny Lightning in the other one there. We had a Vivi. This time here, you know, we've gotten 2 Surge Foils, which is nice. We got a foil Yuna. We got a Surge Foil Tidus. We got another Ishtola, which is nice. We got both versions of Bahamut and the Cloud. So, I mean, hey, you know, all in all, I think that we were super successful with this one here as well. I mean, hey, you know, look at all of these awesome cards that ended up coming through there. How many can I fit in my hand here? Huh? Can we get one more in here? Probably not. So we got Ishtola, you know, 3 copies of her there. But hey, you know, look at all of these awesome stuff. I guess, you know, Tidus should be the one that's at there. So all in all, amazing finale for that there. Getting so many of our mythics at the very end. You know, I'll have up somewhere where the grand total is, but I mean, I think that Tidus really helped push that there to make this worthwhile and make it an amazing set there. So, you know, and we got the Emmett Selch Crick there, and the Gilgamesh is really nice, but hey, you know, all in all, absolutely wonderful way to end it off there. So thank you for joining me in on one of these diary entries there. I hope that you can get some of this luck going there for you. Hopefully you can get your Chocobos or your Surge Foils, anything that you're chasing after there. I'll look forward to seeing you again there. Thanks for joining me in. Have a wonderful day, evening, night there. Until you come back and I see you again, hope you have a wonderful time there and take care of yourself. See you later.